Who's 70?
That's what you're here for. Episode 70. Who wears a 70? Oh, you're really going to have to Google this? The guy who knows everything.
Really, yeah, 'cause I honestly don't.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron. Thanks for letting me bring that one in, Gardner.
And it's episode 70. This is when you come in. Episode 70 of Digital to Dice.
And Becky gets run over by a reindeer. No, it's the Violent World of Sam Huff episode. Sam Huff, old-fashioned NFL linebacker, wore number 70. And one of the reasons why the NFL became popular on TV outside of the 1958 NFL Championship game is that CBS did an hour documentary on the violent world of professional football, and it followed around Sam Huff for a time. And so millions of people watched it, and the guys liked it.
Well, it's weird, this violent world of, wasn't it the violent world of pro hockey? It was a Rod Gilbert hockey game, cards and dice game. And you would think nowadays you would never name a game the violent world of whatever.
Yeah.
It's such a 50s, 60s thing. It's really kind of weird.
It's just such a different world. And of course, back then, college football was the form of football that people followed.
I was watching a video today on YouTube about the rules of football, how they changed over the years.
Oh, I watched that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, and college football was the thing. Like in the 1800s, it was college football. And all through the 1900s, it was college football. And it's one of the, I don't want to say maybe the exception, but it's so weird to see a sport that college was the dominant part of that. There was not like a pro league. Like college was the number one thing. It's just odd. You would think that you'd want a pro league of the best guys, but for some reason college football was the thing.
Mid-60s, and another reason why, as we're going off on a tangent already, is the AFL. If you lived in, let's say, New York City, for instance, if the Giants were home, you couldn't watch. The games were blacked out. You could only watch the road games. So there was, up until 1960, there was no pro football on TV if you wanted to watch a game. When the AFL came in, they usually showed a late game. And obviously they weren't showing the New York Titans, but they would bring in a game. And so for the first time in those big markets, New York and Chicago especially, you had a football game to watch on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, but it was just weird that
wasn't the case.
It's just weird that it was dominated by college for so many years, and then the pros come up. But it was like that was just a thing. They were talking about Thanksgiving games on the colleges would play on Thanksgiving, not the pros. And they would
Texas A&M played for years on.
Yeah, and that's the other video I watched was like the Thanksgiving Day football, history show, whatever. And they were talking about how it was a lot of college back then. So So anyway, hey, today we're gonna get organized today. We really are.
We are?
Yeah, we're gonna get organized today. Okay, and we're gonna talk about organizing your games, whether it's cards and dice games or PC games or whatever it is, because I've spent a good portion of the last 3 days just going through all my cards and dice stuff, all my print and play stuff, obviously stuff that comes in a box is all set to go. But I have just, maybe 100 print and play games here of all different kinds, and they're all over the place in folders, and sometimes I get 2 folders, and I saw somebody, I think it was in our Facebook group, he had a picture of him, his desktop of him playing, his like tabletop, and he had a box with a shootout hockey label on it, and I was like, boy, that is a great idea. Because I have all these overflowing folders and seasons everywhere. So I should just put every game in its own box. And so I went on to uline.com and found some boxes that were fairly cheap. I think you got 20 of them for $30. They were $1.50, and they fit regular sheets of paper. And they're not the sturdiest boxes, but they're not like a Play.com box or something like that, or a Strat box. But they do fine. Holding. So I ordered this big case come in from Uline with all these boxes in it, and I've been going through putting labels on my boxes and putting all my games in one box. And I've cleaned up so much here because I had stuff everywhere. And I'd go to play a game, and it's like, oh man, I know I got this there and somewhere, and now if I want to play a game, I take the box off the shelf, and all the papers I printed are in there. Score sheets, and anything is in there that I need. I don't have to go searching anymore. So, yeah, I've been getting organized, and I've even been organizing on the computer. So we're going to talk about organizing today, Ron.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that'll be what we'll be doing today. But first off, we got Aunt Becky and what we're playing.
No, Aunt Becky, you can't film that new infomercial. We know what you're doing with the money.
Oh, no. What you doing with the money now?
What do you think she's doing? Once you start with a college, then it goes to parking tickets, then it goes to advanced diamond AARP status, and just kind of everything else.
Okay. Well, so that's what we have to look forward to.
That's right. That's right.
So what are you playing, Jucket?
Let's see. Well, new game that I got this week is Top of the Stretch, Lon Whitehead's game. I did an instructional or kind of a virtual unboxing of that, and that's a lot of fun. I bought the base game, which comes with the 2020 Breeders' Cup horses, which I haven't really played with, and the Triple Crown races. And I bought the 100 greatest American horses of the 20th century. And so instead of it being potentially 100 horses, there were two lists of 100. So the greatest horses by season and the greatest horses by career. And obviously there's a lot of overlap. I mean, Secretariat, all the Triple Crown winners and stuff are going to be listed. But so it's not necessarily just 100 horses that you got once. So played around with that. Much like a thoroughbred racing game, you can bet. You and I spent some time with it. It's a Richard Hanna production. So you can have full animation for the races, or you can run it like the traditional card and dice game. And so that's fun. We did full week 1 action from my 1949 replay, or as Gardner calls it, the 1926 or whatever he's calling. He'll ask me, well, what season you playing this today? It's the same one I'm doing all along. Yeah. 1838. Thanks, Gardner. Thanks. And so those are, and of course, Gems of War, because there's nothing quite like, Ron, I think you'd like this game.
It is fun. It's a match 3 game.
Fun. I really enjoy it.
And you kind of do battle on the board. It's like you're playing Bejeweled or something like that. It's just fun.
And it's one of those games that continues to be deeper than you think. You can treat it as an easy puzzle game, or it really doesn't require thought. I've started to get into the daily adventure things, and I can do about 7 of them before they become ultimately ridiculous. And my main character is absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. And I can't figure, I tried to do it through the class, but I can't get through the class battles to upgrade his class.
Yeah, my guy's upgraded. But again, I just play the simple stuff, and I just play it for fun. And
anyway, it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, Gems of War. It's on Steam. It's free on Steam, actually. Gems of War. It's a match 3 game, and it's a kind of a puzzly type of game. But it's mindless game. Sit back and just play and have fun. But it's like I say, it's deep. You can get as deep into this game as you want.
Yes, it really is. And you got me into Board Game Arena, and we sat there last Friday night, New Year's night, playing Bandito. And the first couple times we won it real quick, and then the computer went, oh.
Yeah, we ran out of cards a few times and we lost the game trying to get that Bandito captured. Then we won it like on 5 cards. I think there's 60 cards in the decks, and we went through all 60 and lost, and then we played 5 cards and won it. It was kind of funny how we did that.
And I started a fictional universe in OTP.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool.
So that's what I've been playing.
Yep. And speaking of OTP, or Out of the Park Productions, we're scheduled to have Jeff, developer for Franchise Hockey Manager, and they just released Franchise Hockey Manager 7. We're scheduled to get him on the show for an interview. So if you have any questions for Jeff and Franchise Hockey, get those in. I'll post that in our Facebook group as well. But so
tell us, we forgot to do how you get a hold of us. So why don't you do that now?
Geez,
That's a good segue.
Yeah, I didn't do that, did I? Digitaltodice.com is our website. 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423 is how you can send us a text. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is our email. And on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And I think we're at $5.99.
$5.99 as we tape this at 20 after 1 on Wednesday afternoon.
Wow, so we're almost at 600 in the group. Great. And again, if you want to get some Digital to Dice merchandise, head over to cafepress.com/digital-to-dice, and we have a whole bunch of things over there. In fact, one of our listeners, Al, did an unboxing New Year's Eve.
Love the Easter egg of 2 pairs of boxers.
Yeah. He got an extra set of boxers in his order there. I don't know who Raymond is, but he loves Raymond, I guess. Ray. I think it was Ray or something like that. But, yeah.
Everybody loves Raymond. Don't you remember that?
That's right. So if you want to get some gear, head over there. Hey, going back to that top of the stretch.
Yes.
The creator of that listens to the show.
Lon Whitehead.
So, hi. Want to say hi to him because he does listen to the show.
If you download the demo, that's his voice you hear when the horses are in the gate and down the stretch.
Oh, that's cool. And anher developer that listens to the show, John from Shootout Hockey, says he listens to Digital to Dice too. So shout out to John. Love Shootout Hockey. In fact, I have 2 boxes behind me for Shootout Hockey. I have one box that I put in all the instructions and a few other things in there.
What have you been playing though? You can talk about the boxes in a minute.
Yeah. But then I have one for my seat. So I have 2 boxes to shoot out because that's how much I like Shootout Hockey. Okay, what have I been playing here? Obviously playing some Gems of War with you. Same as you. Let's see. I did some. I got a couple games on Steam. I got Clue. I've never properly played Clue.
Mrs. Mustard in the parlor with a candlestick.
It's Colonel Mustard, but you're close enough. But so I actually played
Colonel during the day.
I played Clue on Steam. It was like $4.99 on sale, and it's like all done up with graphics and stuff. It's really kind of neat in the animations. And so I actually learned how to play Clue, for the first time in my life. I played it as a kid, but I never played it correctly because we never knew how. And so it was just kind of fun playing that. I played some other point-and-click adventure game. It was a 5-hour game on Steam. I think it was like $1.99. For that game there, too. So I just been enjoying kicking my feet up playing some of these games here. Let's see. As far as sports games, playing more of my Celtics replay and PC replay basketball, and continuing my 69-70 Bruins season in action PC hockey. And I'm not playing every game. I'm actually, I streamed one, then I played one, then I simmed a couple, and then I played another one offline, and then I streamed another one. So, we had a great game against the North Stars the other night. Bill Goldsworthy tied the game with 55 seconds left for the North Stars as they tied the Bruins 2-2. So that's what I've been kind of playing.
I love the old green and gold seats at the Met.
Yeah, those were neat. Yeah, they were so neat. Yeah. Was that the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota? Was that it?
Yeah,
the Met Center. Yep, that's where the North Stars played. So I think that's what I've been playing. Red, White, and Blue Racing.
Oh yeah, how'd you like that?
Oh, I love Red, White, and Blue Racing. Yep, I did that over the holidays, and I got the big mat from Ink Gaming is so good because you can lay out all the cars on it and you can see them all in order. And I was really concerned with Red, White, and Blue Racing that if you were in the back group, then you were kind of done. And that's what my concern is that, okay, you lay out all the cars, in order or however you do the order of the cars. But if you're in the back row, then you're in the back row forever. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, a lot of the cars back there are not going to move. That's just how NASCAR is or whatever. But there was one race that I had a guy that was probably 25th place, and he just slowly started inching up. Every time there was a wreck or a guy had trouble, he would go to the back. So I had like 4 or 5 troubles. So he slid up, and next thing you know, he is next in line to go to the middle group. And something happened, and he got a challenge, and he challenged somebody in the middle group and moved up to the middle group. And then a few turns later, he went into the top group, and he actually took over first place. So the guy went from the back group to first place. So that gave me some hope that this game, you're not going to get stuck with just the top 6 drivers all the time. That the lead will change hands. Somebody from the back can emerge. And he was only in the lead for like one roll, then someone else rolled and took him over. But he finished in the top 6, starting in the back, getting in the first for a bit, and then jumping back. So, yeah, so Red, White, and Blue Racing is a lot of fun. It took me about an hour and a half ish. The second game. The first game took a long time because I was learning a bit. But then as I got going, it took about an hour and a half. And I think as I play more, I can get that down to about an hour. So
that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. I thought it was going to be like the golf game. The golf game's a 4 or 5 hour slog for me. It's enjoyable, but it's going to be an all day thing. Where this, I could set up and bang one out fairly quick. Now again, if crazy thing happens, the thing about the play games is that sometimes crazy things can happen. And then you really need to pull out the rule book, or you need to know all the rules to follow that, rabbit hole to see what's supposed to happen with all that stuff. But if normal things just kind of happen, that game flows pretty well. So, yeah, Red, White, and Blue Racing, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been playing. Yep, some good stuff there. I need to play more, and we'll talk about that in the main segment of the show, but I find a lot of my playing time. We talked about cutting into your playing time by setting up games. Well, now the organizing is kind of taking up a lot of my time, but we can talk about that in the main segment. So, yeah, thanks to the game developers that tune into the show. That's always kind of exciting to hear that the games we talk about, the people listen to us. That's kind of fun. And so we roll into main segment.
Let's do that.
All right, so organizing your games. There's a few ways you can do that, obviously.
Once you start to fall down the rabbit hole, like Gardner has, or, you get a new card set, and you're new to gaming, and you get there, and it's an APA baseball set, and it's 900 cards. Oh, my God, what do you do with 900 cards? They're about the same as a playing card, and so what do you do with it? And one of the things that Gardner was talking about with the U-line boxes is, look, I need to find shelf space for it, which, and for most people would be, okay, I only have so much room, so I can have so many different games. But we're not normal people. We're going to build it as the F-35s take off behind me. We're gonna build rooms in our house just to store our stuff, and so, as Dave was talking about with him getting the boxes, there's plenty of ways to keep it organized, whether it's keeping the cards separated by season or that, or, keeping files organized on the PC so you can find things easily when you want to play. And so, Dave, go into what you were actually, talk more about the boxes. They look like shirt boxes. Would that be about when you would go to
they're almost look like gift boxes, because they do the cover pulls off. Like if you ordered a play game, or if you ordered any of the strat games, or any of the old board games, when how you pull the cover off. Okay, so these are not one of these things where it's connected on the side. So the U-line boxes I got, again, they were 20 of them for $30, and they shipped the next day, and shipping was like $10 to $12 or something like that. But
you literally had them.
I ordered them like one morning, and then the next afternoon they were here, which I was pretty surprised. And then I ordered some what would be shipping label paper from Amazon, or you can get them at Staples or wherever. And so it's basically half a sheet. So picture a sheet of paper, it's cut in half, and those are considered shipping labels. So what I did with the boxes is I found the game that I wanted. Let's just say it was shootout hockey or regular season basketball or a Downey game. I went into my Photoshop and I grabbed the logo for the game, and I would put it on half the paper, and then I grab a logo for another game and put it on the other half of the paper, and I print that label out on my printer, and then I just peel it and stick it on the front of the box. So that would be the front of the box. And then on the side, over play.com, you can actually print out labels for the sides of the play boxes, okay? Because the play games, they're generic boxes, but they have stickers on the front or labels on the front and the back of the box. Well, if you put them in like a book in a bookshelf, it's going to look all the same. So they actually sell, not sell, but you can just buy the PDF. I think you could actually have them print them too and send it to you. But, I downloaded the PDF, printed them out, and cut them up on my cutter, and I stuck them on the side of the box. So now if you stick it in like a book, you can see it says Red, White, and Blue Racing, History Maker Golf. So that's a pretty cool idea there. So that way you don't got to pull it out to see what it is. You can look to see exactly what your game is. So I took the Play.com side box logo and started putting in my own side logos for the other games, Final Score Hockey, Final Score Football, Momentum Football, regular season basketball, all the games here. And anything I had a lot of seasons, a lot of printouts and stuff, I wanted to give its own box. And so I took the Uline box and I took the actual game logo, put it on the front on a sticker, and then on the side created something on the side. And a lot of times I was using my own font, and I'm just kind of practicing with Photoshop, so I'm learning Photoshop and how to do all that. And I just cut them up, so now I got a front logo on the box, a side logo, and then I put a logo at the bottom of the box too, not the back but the bottom. So depending on how I stack them in there, I get 3 sides that I can see a label. And so that's what I did. So I started off with like the game-winning drive, and what was good about organizing this, Ron, is next to me here in my office I have like a file folder thing with all the folders of games I printed, put it in a folder, and it's right there. Well, that's overflowing. Okay, especially like the Roberto Civini games, because I have so many Roberto Civini games, and I would print them out and I'd have them and stapled and the whole bit. That folder was overflowing. So I bet
it was.
So I created a Roberto Civini games box, and I was able to take that folder that was overflowing in my folder area, put it in its own box with a nice label. I got a Formula One car off the internet that just looked kind of cool. And again, it's my own private use. I'm not selling this, so it's, I'm able to do that. And I made a nice Roberto Civini box and put all the games in the box, Now, again, these are just sheets of paper. If it's bigger than a sheet of paper, it won't fit in the boxes I got. But now I get all my Roberto Civini games right on the shelf in that box. So if I want to play something, I don't dig for it. It's right there. I see it. Game-winning drive, I had a game-winning drive folder in my folders. I had a game-winning drive folder in my other cabinet here. So I had game-winning drive all over the place. So now I pulled out everything and went through everything, and I combined all my game-winning drive into one box. And now I know where it all is. I don't have to wonder, geez, where's that season? Where's that? So if I want to pull that out there. So I took, I got 10 or 12 boxes made already of some of the bigger games. Obviously, if it's a handful of sheets of paper, then it doesn't need its own box. But games like Shootout Hockey, where I have a lot of stuff printed out for it, I gave it its own box. Game-winning drive, the same thing. The regular season basketball, I have some seasons printed up and some teams printed up. So anything that had a lot printed up that was clogging up my folder area, I gave it a box. And I took the time to do it up nice. Again, I saw somebody on Facebook that did that. They had
behind you in your studio that people can't see it, obviously, and it looks very sharp.
Yeah, it's just simple white boxes with stickers on, color stickers that I made. I could have just wrote by hand and just put what it is and threw it on the shelf, and that's fine. And if you do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as the organizing part, I wanted to make it look nice. I did. I wanted to make it look nice, and just for me, more eye-pleasing for me. And so I went a little crazy designing the labels, spending a lot of time like that, like I did with the payoff pitch cards. How I took a lot of time and added some color and some logos, and it takes up a lot of time, takes up a lot of your gaming time. But when you're doing organizing like that, first off, I found all my files and they were scattered. It just happens. Yeah. You print out a lot of games. Especially a year ago when I really get into cards and dice, I was printing everything, and stuff just goes everywhere. So now I have my game. I'm slowly organizing my games, my cards and dice games, my print and play games into boxes where I know where they can find it. And now that I've, filtered out some of my folders, now I can go through the folders of the smaller stuff that I've printed out, of the less print and play stuff. And now I can organize those folders. So now I can see what I have. So every now and then it's good to go through all your stuff, see what you got, organize it. It's like, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's, you ever do that? You go through there and you find something. It's like, oh, I was wondering. All the time. Yeah, I wonder where that is. And I got games I forgot I had. So I'm trying to really organize my games now. And these boxes have really done a good job for me to kind of put them on the shelf so I can see them. They do look kind of neat behind me. I'm not going to lie. But now I know where they are. So if I get the itch to play something, I grab the box and everything's in there. I'm not, looking through my file cabinet or whatever. So And I've seen some other people do some interesting things too. They'll post pictures of the racks behind them or the boxes they have behind them, and they do creative things with it. Some people print like nice color labels for everything on each team and each season.
For the envelopes.
Yeah, there's some pretty creative people.
Coin envelopes you can put the stickers on. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes I do that with some of the Strat stuff. Is I'll put a sticker on and put them in an envelope or whatever. But some people do some really, really creative things. And when I saw that picture of the guy, I think it was in our Facebook group, that took a picture of his desk and he had the box with the Shootout logo on it, and it just triggered something. I said, boy, that's how I could organize these games, which is all over the place right now, and then one on top of another, here and there. Now I'm going to organize everything, take the games I play the most, and I'll put them in a box so I can get right at them, is what I'm going to do.
Other thing is, if you're more of a card player, because we're talking some of the stuff, there's a lot of sheets and charts and all that, is you can get a baseball card box. You get one of those 500 count or 900 count or one of the pizza box size 1200 count things. You use the envelopes, stack them up that way like you did, and so it's all organized, and you write on the side of the box what game and what season, or maybe 71 through 73 APA or 75 through 78 Strat. And so all you got to do is open up the box, find the two envelopes you want, no muss, no fuss, and make sure you put them back.
Right, yeah.
That's a good way to keep things organized as well, because some card companies, we won't mention any names, produced product on card stock that isn't as durable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder, especially to get some stuff replaced as opposed to, the PDF, you own it forever. We'll talk about that when we get to the computer portion of this. But especially if you're doing a card game and you want access to certain players, or you want to make sure that they stay as pristine as possible. Because I can tell you firsthand, Stratomatic hockey cards and Diet Coke don't mix.
Did you have a Coke?
I told you that story.
Did you have a Coke and a Smile? You did. You told me the story. You knocked it over right on the cards. Yep.
Oh, no, that was not a Smile that guy had. It was a grade A conniption.
Yeah.
And it was a Diet Coke. It wasn't even a soda I liked. So, yes. So it's important to keep those things there. And so, no, what you've done is you've taken the old Avalon Hill bookshelf game idea, the pay dirt, whatever their baseball game was. And that's what it is. They would literally sit on your bookshelf.
Yep.
And you would just pull them down when you wanted to play. And so that's what you got there. You got them stacked like pizza boxes, but similar idea.
Yeah, it was an inexpensive way, because when I really had the idea that I was triggered from somebody in our group, I went looking for boxes, and there was a couple of Board Game Pieces websites, but they wanted for a box. Now, I think the box would have been a little bit bigger, which would have been better because you can get your finger in there. Like these here, the papers are really snug, so you're not gonna, like the play.com boxes are perfect sizes. They hold the sheets of paper, but there's just enough room to stick your finger in and pull them out, if you know what I mean. Whereas these ones here, the paper is snug to the corners and the edges of the box. It's really snug, so you got to kind of force them all out to get them all. But for $1.50 compared to the other ones I was looking at were a $9 for a single box or $7.50 for 10. Okay, so it'd be $75 just for 10 boxes. Now they would be a nice heavier stock, and they'd be a little bit bigger, and they would fit things better. But I'm like, something. I think I could deal with $1.50 and deal with the issues with that box compared to a really nice box. Maybe what I'll do is go back and I'll splurge someday on my favorite games and get a real nice box.
Yeah, and what you did, look, you did a video on it, and it looks really sharp. The other thing is, if you don't want to put that much effort into it, you can always go to a grocery store, wear your boxes, and pick out the right size ones for that to put coin envelopes in. So you can fit 30 coin envelopes into a box of tuna fish.
Yeah, and what other people are talking about too is going to like a Savers or a dollar store, and there's always some kind of containers there or boxes there that you can just kind of you could refit for your needs. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. Like I went to Target. I almost got some at Target one time. They were 99 cents each for all these containers, and it would have been perfect for like payoff pitch and stuff like that. But they didn't ship. for some reason they wouldn't ship them. You had to pick them up, and it was over Christmas. I'm like, yeah, the heck with that. So it was just like I didn't feel like fighting the Christmas crowd for some boxes of some containers.
So Dollar General, Walmart, Target.
Yeah, you go into these places. Sometimes people were finding like old board games that were in good shape, or would buy them and just throw out the board game components and keep the box. You know what I mean? People were doing some things like that where they were buying $1 and $2 items.
Sorry, it was worth a lot of money because people are doing it.
But I mean, you go and you find, this box is the perfect size, and it's like $1 or $2 game or whatever is in the box, and you're like, I don't need what's inside. And I've done that. When I first started playing, I ended up buying Frengle or Frugal. There was some game with an F, and it had all these different, like colored dice, 6 sets of colored dice. And it was in a craft store. And I bought the game just for the dice. So I got home and I took the dice out and I threw the game away.
Sometimes you can even find a good deal at a craft store too, as long as you're not looking for kits or something. Like a scrapbooking kit would be like ridiculously expensive, right. But the felt in a box or something like can be really cheap as long as it's not anything frou-frou or something that could be sold on its own as a decoration.
Yeah, I went into I think it was a Michael's craft store, and I made that wrestling ring you see me post once in a while on Facebook, and it was $10, maybe a little bit less. I bought a blank wooden box for a few bucks. I bought some like little dowels for the posts, and I bought some felt for the ring, and some yarn for the ropes. And so I wrapped the box in felt and glued it down so it looks like a wrestling ring, and I screwed in the posts from the dowels that I bought, and then I just glued some ribbon or yarn to make it look like wrestling ring, and it came out pretty neat. And $10, and I had a nice little ring. So when I play, I have that out and I put my wrestlers in the ring, and that's just part of the ambience, But craft stores you can find some really good things for storage and organizing at craft stores. But
Target, Dollar General, friendly manager at your local grocery store, you're not going to get the white boxes that Dave was talking about, but you never know. I mean, because people, that's stuff that they give away all the time. You can't reuse the box. It's just going back to the recycling center anyway.
Some people, you could take a blank pizza box if you want and just write on the side with a magic marker. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I just wanted to make it look nice, and because I'm learning how to use Photoshop, that's what I was doing. So it's kind of continues my education with Photoshop, learning how to do some of these things. And so I just decided to make it look nice. But boy, I was up till after 1 o'clock last night before I finally got tired and said, okay, I need to go to bed here. And I didn't really play anything all night either. So we're cutting into my playing time once again by doing some organizing of the games. But I felt it was needed. That my cards and dice area is just a mess. I got literally 100 games here, and I need to really organize them and sort them out, and that's what I'm kind of doing right now. And I'll probably continue on this project throughout today as well, just after we record here. Just because I want it to look nice. And again, you stumble on things like, oh, I didn't realize I had this game.
Yeah, or the worst thing you can do is to buy something twice because I like that, and not realize I have it.
I've bought in a couple of seasons from Downey that I already had. Whereas now, if I have all the Downey games in a box, I open it up to see what seasons I got, and then I'm good to go.
Important safety tip: paper weighs a lot.
Yeah,
and so don't put anything on the top shelf. We had an earthquake here about 20 years ago. Actually, we've been here 20 years this July. And I had a lot of the coffee table books on top of my bookshelf in the hallway. And it was strong enough that the bookshelf moved. And we must have had about 200 pounds worth of books. And that's where the cat was sleeping on the floor. If that had moved, that would have been curtains for that particular cat about 10 years before his natural demise. And so seriously, don't put anything on the super heavy on the top. Dave's got it about mid-range, I see, on his. And so if it moves, it's going to weight down the thing, and there's less of a chance of an accident. But don't put anything where A, you can't reach it, or B, it's going to hurt anything. Yeah. Because you'd think it's paper. How heavy can it be? Well, when you stack a couple reams over each other in a box full in a sharp box, that could hurt.
No, I've seen some people that have like the metal wire racks. Now those are pretty sturdy, so you could probably put anything you wanted on those within reason. So I've seen some people have those in the background, and I enjoy that too. Sometimes you see somebody with a video, and they're like, "Hey, here's my game collection." And a lot of times with the board game stuff, it's all the heavy duty wire rack, metal rack stuff there that they use. They don't use anything flimsy at all. But it's just kind of neat how see people store their cards, and they organize their cards by season. And it's like, hey, this is this is that, this is the other thing, and it gives you ideas on how to do your stuff too.
Yep.
You know. Now I went to Staples last school season, not this one, but the last school season, and they had this ridiculous sale on these little folders. I guess they're called all different color kind of folders. So in other words, you open it up and it's got the left and the right side. You can put papers in and close it, almost like a report cover or something like that.
Like a Trapper Keeper? Is that what you're thinking?
No, they're real small. They're just these little, like I said, they're all different colors. You just open it up and there's a slot on the left and a slot on the right. And that's it. And then you close it. And it's not really designed for tons of papers, but you can put a bunch in there. And they were 20 cents or something like that. So I went and bought, 50 of these things for my projects. And I got all different colors. I got greens and blues and red and orange and yellows and the whole bit. And so I have them separated like that too. So I have all those labeled here. So now every game has its own little folder thing that I have here, but some overflowed, So so now I had to, go into the box there with those. But, so, I mean, so I caught a huge sale. I bought a ton of these folders at Staples, and I still haven't used them all yet, but I'm looking at them right now. They come in very handy for the print and play stuff as well. Or you could just, like I say, put them in a manila folder if you want to. But I like this other thing there because you can open it up so you can put the rules on the one side and maybe like the teams or the seasons on the other side.
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Especially with PDFs. So organizing your PDFs, shipped over to the PC version of this. Obviously, games install. If you have mods for games, they go in their own folders. Some of them have their own unzips, so it just directly installs it. You don't have to worry about it. Others, like the Dave Cook games, I have this massive, massive bulging folder of data where all my seasons and all my pictures and all the stuff that the wife isn't supposed to know I have. I mean, they're all there. But when I buy a PDF game, because I don't print my PDFs, there's a few I have around here. And so what Dave did was pretty much take his PDFs or his printed games and put them in boxes. I have them all in folders, and they're, as long as I'm alive and have a working hard drive, you just copy them from one computer to the next, or even store them on Dropbox if your space is limited. And so that they're all right there. So every PDF, every Excel spreadsheet, everything that you have is right there. And kind of like you, every once in a while go, what is this folder marked? Whatever it is. Open it like, oh, it's 50 seasons of this game. Yeah. I didn't realize I had it, because we all do that. And it's just impossible to know what it is that you have, because look, you can only play one game at a time. No matter how many games we have, Fuzzy, we can only play one game at a time. And for those of us who live in apartments and really can't expand storage space, there would be the lady that is left to go to work would kill me if I had a box game stuff. Mm-hmm. Because that is one less wall of stuff that we could use for her stuff that we both consider important, places for food, or anything like you get your game cards out of the kitchen, Ron.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I started doing the same thing with my PDF, like you were talking about. Is so as I'm sorting out my Downey games, because I have a lot of print and play Downey games, and I'm putting them in boxes, and I'm finding stuff everywhere. I started to think, what would happen if something happened and I lost this, or I misplaced something? It's like, do I have the PDFs? Can I put my hand on them? And I went onto my computer and I realized that I had stuff everywhere on different folders. And you don't you just, like I say, you're not thinking like when you buy, okay, I'm going to create a distinct folder on my hard drive for this game. You just kind of like drop it into a generic folder, okay, hockey games, baseball games, whatever. So I went in and I couldn't find my Final Score hockey stuff anywhere, or my Ultra Quick hockey stuff anywhere. So I pulled up a thumb drive that I knew I dropped all my Downey stuff, and I found it on a thumb drive. It's on my hard drive, but
you just can't find it.
But I can't find it. And you try to do a search, and that really doesn't help. So what I finally did is I created a Downey folder, and then within the Downey folder, all the games I have, I created a folder for every game, every Downey game.
Roberto stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, if I wanted to know where this... So I started finding the stuff all over my hard drive and dropping it into the Downey folder, And I did the same with Shootout. I got a Shootout folder, so I drop all my Shootout seasons in. And my Strat stuff, all my Strat stuff goes in there. In my regular season basketball, I created a folder for that because I just had basketball. But now, no, I want a regular season basketball. So now if something is up and I spill something or something gets lost, or if I want to print more teams, maybe I didn't print every team, I know exactly where to go. Yeah, so now I'm trying to organize the computer, which before I just had generic folders for everything.
So storage is cheap.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be that way. I remember the first hard drive I had about 30 years ago was a 20 megabyte hard drive. And I'm going, how in the world would I ever fill a 20 megabyte hard drive? Well, I've got an external 4 terabyte hard drive and a 1 terabyte SSD in the computer, or half a terabyte. Yeah, it's but still, the bad news is it doesn't take much to fill those things. The good news is
one of my first computers, I had a Star Wars chess game on disk, floppy disk, not floppy disk, 3.25, 3.5 disc, whatever they were.
Yeah, the save icon for those of you under the age of 40.
Yeah, and my hard drive was so small that I could install the chess game and play it, but if I wanted to do anything else, I'd have to uninstall chess game, and it was 13 discs, so I would have to install every time I wanted to play the game, and it was fun. It was a little Star Wars chess game, had some animations, and it was the original characters, and it was a lot of fun. But then I'd get done, and I'd have to uninstall it to free up room for everything else. And then if I sat down and wanted to play it again, I'd pull out the 13 disc and install it one at a time, and then I could play. That's how the storage. There was no storage back then.
And so also Yoda could tell you,
mate, you are checked.
Pretty much, yes, it was.
Yeah,
but yeah. So now I am finally now that I'm doing the box organizing, I'm also doing the computer organizing at the same time. So I'm creating folders or subfolders for all these games that I got, so I can find it, because I don't necessarily print out every team or every season or every player when I buy a game. Sometimes I just print out what I need at the time. Mm-hmm. So if I want to go back and say, okay, well, I didn't print out all the teams or whatever, I need. Where is this file? So I'm organizing the computer as well. So I'm going to put this file here and this file here. So now I did find my Final Score hockey and my Ultra Quick hockey, and it's at a folder, and I know where it is now. Why I didn't do this back in the day, I don't know. You just start, you download it, goes into the download folder, then you create a hockey folder or a basketball folder, and then you have all your hockey stuff in there, and then it gets lost. And
especially if you are, let's say, in Canada, and PDFs, because it doesn't cost anything to ship a PDF. Mailing something from Canada to the States is ridiculously expensive.
Right.
That you never have to worry about reprinting. It just costs you, you can take it to Staples if you want. I wouldn't recommend doing it by the hundreds of pages. $1,500 was it to get one of your games printed if you'd printed everything?
Oh yeah, the whole season of the whole payoff pitch season, I brought down to Staples. Yeah, they wanted like $1,200.
But if you wanted to go to like Kinko's or the UPS store or something like that and would pay the $30 to do it, you could get it done. But you would at least have the original stored digitally, and so you wouldn't have to worry about that. So if some idiot spills a Diet Coke or the dog pees on it or chews it up, then you're golden.
Well, it was just frustrating because I was putting the stuff in boxes today. I was like, where is the PDF file for this instructions? I just want to put my hand on because I know I bought it. It's like, where is it? And so I'm slowly now organizing my shelf as well as my PC. And again, I highly recommend every time you buy a game, that you get through the email, just create a folder with that game. That way you know exactly where it is. It's just a pro tip. I wish I had told myself this a year ago.
Yep. No, and that's a good one, because I think we get excited about it, and then we get excited about something else. It's like, oh, look, squirrel. And and so they get like, come on. Oh, I watched someone play this game. Well, I got it. I know I have this somewhere. Where did I put it?
Yeah, well, it's like the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer in your house, and everything just goes into the junk drawer, and then you go into that junk drawer constantly looking for stuff, and
5 meat thermometers later, because you keep thinking that you've lost the meat thermometer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so organizing, it's actually been fun, because again, this summer with myself being out of work, I ended up organizing my whole house. I went through everything, all my work stuff, all my work folders. I threw out bags of stuff that I've had for years that I just don't need anymore. Or I sold some stuff. It actually, it's a feel good thing when you cleanse, when you organize, and things look better, and you put your hand on things and you know where they are. It's like, okay, now I know where this is. Now I know where that is. Ooh, I didn't realize I have that. Here's the folder for that. And you kind of like, it's almost like a mental checklist of everything now. Because now I've gone through all my folders here, so now I know what games I have, what games I don't have. If I didn't remember I had this game, and this was kind of a fun game, I should play this again. And so, there's been a few things like that I found. And anytime you clean and go through stuff, you find that stuff. But for me, it was a lot of the games. And so organizing, it's a slog. It choosing into your gaming time, but when you're done with it, everything looks good. You know where everything is, and you've taken an inventory of everything that you've had, and that goes for the hard drive too. When you're cleaning up your computer, it's like, oh wow, okay, here's this, here's that, and it always bugs me. Like I go for something and say, where is it? Where is it on my hard drive? And you're thinking, well, yeah, back when I downloaded it, I put it somewhere that I would never forget. I'm going to put it in this folder because I won't forget it's in this folder.
Never forget it.
And where is it?
Trash out?
Yeah, where is that folder now on my hard drive?
I'd be curious to hear how you guys do it out there.
Yes.
And
yes.
If you were more likely to play the game you took the time to organize, because that would be, if you take the time to do it and get trapped by the shiny new squirrel, does your boxes just sit there and collect dust? Or do you have or maybe some of you have a garage that the stuff that you've organized, but it's not on your list of things to play immediately. What do you do with it after you organize it? So those are the couple of things that I'd love to hear.
Yeah, I think for myself, now that I've pulled out some things and put it in boxes and spent the time on the box making it look nice, it's kind of fresh in my mind now, and I'd be more apt to play some of the games I just put in boxes. Because now I pulled them out and I've seen them again. It's like, oh, I remember this game and this was a fun one. Why haven't I played this? But yeah, we'd like to know your organization and storage tips and techniques, if you have any. What could you share with the audience beyond what we've shared that we do? What would help people store their games? What ideas you have? How crazy do you get? You just take a shoebox and write on it with a marker and be done with it? Or do you like to go and get a nice box and put a nice label, or go get something printed down at Staples or FedEx or Kinko's or something like that and do it up really nice? What do you do as far as organizing? And on your computer too, do you have a folder for every single game, or do you just have a folder for different sports? Or how do you do that? How do you find things, and how do you organize your games? We'd like to know how you guys do it. So please, again, comment here, or if you're on Facebook, go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/digital2dice, and let us know, or email us, digital2dice@yahoo.com. And just let us know, what do you do with your organization of your games, and how important is it to you? Maybe you don't care. Maybe you have all your games in a pile and you know exactly where they are, or whatever. Or maybe you're meticulous. I tend to be a little meticulous about things, as you can tell. That I might even go put these in alphabetical order when I'm done. That's how crazy I get with some things.
I told you about the aide I hired years ago because she alphabetized the cans of soup in her kitchen.
That's hardcore.
I literally hired somebody because of that. And now you know the rest.
That would scare me. That would scare me. It just would. It just
Yeah.
would. If I opened somebody's cabinet and it was A to Z with soups and like that would concern me.
I was needing an assistant, and the day that we'd set up for interviews turned out to be a snowstorm. So a snowstorm, not a southern snowstorm, but a good old fashioned New England one where it's a foot, where I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to get there. And so 2 people showed up. And A, if you're driving through a foot of snow for a job, you really need it. And B, like, okay, because it was to help me organize. Yep, if you're that would do it. That got her that job.
It's not a terrible thing, but it is a little creepy when someone goes that far. I mean, I'm all for organization and looking good and finding things, but yeah.
So how seriously do you all take it?
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're trying to ask.
So, and if you need help, then this is the person you want to help. Ask Ron to find out the contact person for that person. She will help you organize your games.
No. I know who that person is.
A to Z. Imagine the game organization that person could do, though. Woo! Nothing else.
No.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
This has been episode 70 of the Digital to Dice podcast.
World of Sam Huff.
Yeah, the Sam Huff episode. We talked about organizing our games, so we want to know about you and how you organize your games, computer or tabletop. Ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. Over at Spreaker, where we put all the shows. 978-751-DICE is how you can text us. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. Facebook group, we just talked about facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And again, over at cafepress.com/digitaltodice, you can find some Digital to Dice gear. Until next time, Ron, take care.
You too.
Stay away from the coffee.
I will.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.